Hi Stampers, Diane Dimich here with ddstamps.com, and today I'm just going to talk a little bit about cutting cardstock and how to cut it. I had a fairly new stamper call me this week and say that's the hardest part for her, is knowing how to cut her cardstock and what shapes and what sizes to do it in. So I'm just going to give a really quick tutorial on a few things that's pretty basic, but it'll be easier for you or others who just need a little help with the cutting part. So I'm going to use our Stampin' Up! Cutter, and this is awesome because it has a cutting blade, the darker gray one, and a lighter gray one, which is a scoring blade. And I'm going to just start with a piece of our Ultra Smooth or Whisper White cardstock. So you have a couple of options, and our cardstock is 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 11. And if you cut it in half, so I'm going to put it up here on the cutter to 5.5 and cut my cardstock in half. And then if I turn it and 4 1/4, that's the halfway point between here and here, and score it, then I have a piece of cardstock that just folds in half. It's a very nice size. It's just a regular card size. So that's one way to do it. I'm going to hang on to those because I'm going to use them later. And the other way is to take your piece of 8.5 by 11 and put it into your cutter the long way. And this time it would be at 4 1/4 because that's half of a sheet from 8.5 to across. So if I score that and then turn it and or cut that, turn it and score it at 5.5 this time, that just gives me the same size card, only a different shape. So I fold it, and this time it opens this way. So the first time it opens that way, second time it opens this way, and that's just a half a sheet of cardstock for each card with that. Now the next layer I would take, I'll just take the scrap that I have here, and I'm going to cut this in half at 5.5. And one of the things that I like to do is I like to layer my cards so they have the white or the background or the base of the card and then a little border around it with a different piece of paper or a different color. And how I do that is I take a piece of cardstock and I cut it at 5 1/4. So 1/4 inch off that side, and then at 4, which is another 1/4 inch off that side. And I'm going to have to get a different piece of cardstock because this isn't going to show up very well white on white. But I have this piece here of Cajun Craze that's already been cut that way. And so you can see when I layer this onto my card base, I get that nice even frame around there. So it's just a 4 by 5 1/4, a half inch off each side. And that gives you that great layer. And then you can go ahead and cut your cards down even farther. And like I cut this one down, I took a piece of cardstock. This is a piece of cardstock that's 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I decide, well, I'm going to cut this at in half. And so half is 2 3/4. Chop that in half, and you'll see how nicely this is going to layer on that, and on that, and on that, and how you get those even borders. So it's just a 1/4 sheet of cardstock cut in half is this piece. And then I took another piece of cardstock that I'd already cut, like this one, at 4 by 5 1/4, and I cut this one in half, and I end up with a nice layer for this piece. So when you're all done, you have several ways that you can work with this, and I just find this is really the easiest way to start any base of a card to begin with. So you have your base of your card, your first layer, your next layer, and your last layer. And you can just see, I just used really contrasting so you could see how it, you could see the different frames, but you see how it works. Boy, I don't have them in there very straight, but I hope you get it. So this one here, just use that base behind it. So the base of the card is a regular size card, and then a 4 by 5 1/4 base that was put through an embossing folder, and then just decorate it on the front. Very simple, very fun. This one here, same concept. There's your base of your card, there's your first layer, and there's your second layer. So I came down another 1/4 inch on that one. You can see the different looks that you get. This one I actually took a base of a card And then the black piece that's under here actually went off, instead of a 1/4 of an inch on 2 sides, it went off a full inch on 2 sides. And so it just brings it in a little bit, but I like the look that it gets. And then the last one here, again, same thing. Has your base of your card, and then your 4 by 5 1/4 piece on the back that's been embossed, and then a couple of different layers that are just a 1/4 of an inch in from each one. But lots of fun. So I hope that helps. Let me know. Thanks. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and sign up for my newsletter at www.ddistamps.com.